It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Welcome on in to the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here with Eric Frandsen on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM The Fan. Streaming online, 1069thefan.com, 1069 The Fan mobile app.
All the places.
All of the places. Where can I find the Full Court Press? Yes.
Yes, we want to be where you are.
And
even if it means you're not listening live.
Yes, because you can find it on our podcast feed. We've got all our podcasts up as quick as we can. Eric does it like in the middle of the show. He gets our full 1 hour episode like in the middle of the show. Like.
not until it's over. I'm not posting it as it's happening.
We've also got kind of sectioned off our interviews that we've done over the past week or so. Interviews with some of the high school coaches who've won championships. Also Wesley Brooks, Utah State women's basketball head coach who we had on yesterday. And not done with interviews. We got more interviews.
More on the way. It's a great time of year to be doing that, and great to have these coaches or players join the program. These are people who have found ways to win at very high levels, and it's always fun to hear their stories about how they got there. And the journey, and just kind of reflect on the success that they've been able to enjoy. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love doing these interviews. Just a chance to talk to them, get to know their, hear the story of their season, and what made these guys champions. You'd think that just like every interview you do, it's like the exact same. Like, oh, how'd you become a champion? And then they explain to you the exact same thing as the last coach who came in. But it feels like these are all unique. They're all telling their own unique story. Yeah, the one thing all these coaches and players tend to share is they're champions. A lot of the ones we have on, but it goes to show they're all unique.
Yeah,
in some form or fashion.
And to in Wes Brooks, I don't think we can peg him in that same category. But you're somebody that's bringing an excitement to trying to revive a program and get people excited about the early goings of hopefully a journey that leads to success.
Yeah, we've had a lot of obviously champions on here, but also we also want to spotlight these other teams. It's our job. We're supposed to shine the spotlight that we can on everyone, including the up and coming programs. We've seen programs make that rise. Volleyball, soccer, kind of rising from mediocrity or from the dust, so to speak, to become great. And we've seen that at high school, college. So that's our job, Eric. It's our job.
That's our job.
To interview these.
Yes.
What a wonderful job it is. Speaking of not champions, the Utah Jazz.
Wow. Bum.
I thought of that transition like 30 seconds ago. I had to use it. The Utah Jazz, after that shocking display of disrespect for myself, I have to give them credit for what they did today in revealing their new jerseys. Although when they're going to be released, it's not like these are going to be the only jerseys they wear next season. But in case you haven't seen them, they teased it yesterday that they were going to reveal something, and it was the assumption was that it was going to be a rebranding of these jerseys. And this morning they came out with them. You can find pictures all over everywhere, all over social media and with the Jazz and all their wherever they're at online. And I got to be honest, I really like them. I don't think they're the best jerseys that have ever been put out, ever. But I like them. And maybe that's just because they're coming on the back end of the worst jerseys in the history of ever. But it does feel like the light at the end of a very dark tunnel that was lined with blinding highlighter yellow.
Yes. Now, some of these are designs that they hinted at a year ago, and so now we're seeing them that concept come to reality with the gradient mountain kind of motif and that type of font. But there's different variations on it. So for those who haven't seen it, they're really leaning into the purple this upcoming season. So it's the Purple Mountain.
Purple is back, Eric.
Purple Mountain Majesty.
And it's not just a meme. Purple is actually back.
Yes. Yeah, so there's two different types of mountain that they showcase. And one, it has colors that go from kind of a lighter, or excuse me, a darker purple, and there's like a line of that same outline. As it goes up, it gets lighter and lighter until it becomes white to mimic, snow-capped mountains. But on the white version of that jersey, it's opposite. It starts white and gets darker as it goes to the top, so it's a dark purple outline at the very top.
Yeah, because let's say you got to contrast it when you're on a white backdrop.
Right. And then the Utah itself is kind of, I don't know what font that is, but it's similar to a font that the Jazz used like in the Darren Williams era.
Yeah, it's like that one, or like the late Stockton Malone era.
Yes.
Where that was the font they used for Jazz, but they applied that to Utah, which to be honest, like that's kind of the one thing that I'm not as big. Mostly that I feel like that font doesn't fit Utah as well. It fit with the word Jazz, and like they had a purpose to try and make this Utah and not necessarily like Jazz, because they're leaning into Utah. Because the whole theme was mountains. They played up mountains to the nth degree. That was, that's the center. That's where everything is. A lot of the fan base is on the Wasatch Front, obviously. So they leaned into that hard. And fair enough. I'm at least they had a theme. At least they have a vision. And I feel like for the vision they had, which is solid, the mountains are obviously an iconic part of Utah.
Yeah.
They, I don't know if I'd call it a home run. It's at least an extra base hit.
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. There's the purple jersey with the kind of gradient mountain silhouette. I don't even know the right terms here. I'm definitely not a graphic arts person, you can tell. And so there's the purple version of that, and a white version of that, just contrasting colors. Then there's a different purple jersey that has kind of a different style of mountain on it, snow-capped mountain. And then there's a fourth jersey that they revealed today, and it's a black jersey, and it's got a kind of a purple trim just around the neckline, but it's a similar kind of mountainscape of the last one that I just described, but it's black. And so I think that actually looks really sharp. However, they're keeping the statement edition jerseys for this upcoming season, and the association jersey. It's the white with the highlighter yellow as highlights, or black with the highlighter yellow with Utah and the number. So the black and yellow is still going to be with us this next year, but they will not use the all highlighter yellow jersey. Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank
they
goodness.
have retired that.
And I have a feeling they're not going to use those statement jerseys very often. They'll use them probably as little as they can get away with. I'll be honest. I feel like the new like black jerseys, like that is an example. Like if you're going for a fairly simplistic style, that is honestly the perfect example, because the mountain silhouette is very subtle, but it's there. Mm-hmm. You've got the J-No, which I love. I almost wish they would have used the J-No on the other jerseys, but I get that they had the vision of using Utah, so that was the theme they went with. Maybe it just didn't work as well on those. But I really like the simplicity of those in how it works. Like the black jerseys and the white ones are actually probably my favorite, even though I tend to love the purple jerseys. I can't say I have anything to truly dislike about any of these jerseys, again, other than minor nitpicks of maybe this doesn't work perfectly. Like I said, these aren't like home run, A+, hit it out of the park, home run jerseys, but they are good.
Yeah. I guess I should clarify as I'm scrolling through this. So for this upcoming season, you have the white with the highlighter yellow that we saw last year, and the black with the highlighter yellow, which we saw this last year. And then the statement edition, which is the new black with the J note and the mountainscape behind it, and a purple version of that with some sky blue accents. The ones with the gradient style that I was describing, those actually won't be used until next year, 2025 to 2026. And they have, and they will introduce an additional jersey for that called the City Edition. That won't be revealed until later, but they're getting ahead of, this is what we're going to look like this year. These are our concepts for next year. So they're really kind of showing ahead rather than dropping a bombshell and somebody leaks an image like, hey, this looks like the new Jazz jersey, and everybody freaks out because it looks terrible.
Well, and it's also just trying to get out of the mire that was that initial rebrand. There was a complete disaster where Ryan Smith just got ahead of himself and thought he was smart, wanted to go for simplistic, and thought everybody would share his tastes. They didn't. And so this is where he's like, okay, hold on, let's actually go with what people identify with. Utah, the Jazz, the mountains, the purple. Like, people love those things. Give the people what they want.
Right.
And he's very much doing it. And there's also the fact that he gets to play around with the Utah NHL. That can satiate his, desire to kind of build something from the ground up.
Right. But it should be noted in 25-26, the 2025 to 2026 season, there is no highlighter yellow anywhere as of yet. There's one other jersey that they will reveal, so it may revive some of that from its last few years, but it doesn't look like there's any highlighter yellow in any part of the uniform for 25-26 season.
I think the fans might riot if Ryan tried to bring back highlighter yellow. Like, keep in mind, this basically happened.
Maybe on a retro night in 20 years.
Jazz fans basically bullied Ryan Smith into this. Like, this is an example of bullying gone right. Mostly because Jazz fans weren't, like, super toxic about it. They just basically made it a meme. Like, thankfully, this wasn't like, put Ryan's head on a pike over this kind of thing. They weren't being, Philadelphia fans over here. But they basically bullied Ryan Smith into doing the right thing. And again, this isn't perfect jerseys, but he's going in the right direction and is getting about as good. As far as NBA uniforms, which are like, there's a crisis of identity for the NBA because they can't figure out.
Yeah, they're always changing their uniforms.
Yeah, they have this obsession, this, impulse to constantly change jerseys. Because people are complaining, like, the Jazz need to stop changing their jerseys every couple of years. Literally everyone is changing their jerseys every couple of years. I guess not literally everybody, because there's like 2 or 3 teams that aren't. No team has a color identity anymore, save for a couple of teams. Like, the Jazz weren't identified with, the classic, kind of Mardi Gras colors of the Jazz. They weren't associated with that for like a couple of years.
For a long stretch.
Yeah, and a lot of other teams are drifting away from, like, colors that identify them. Like, what if I say black and red, what's the first NBA team that comes to mind?
Black and red?
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls.
There you go. There's also the Miami Heat. Like, there's a couple that, like, but then, like, the Heat, they're drifting toward, but, other colors. I think they've worn
Well, they've got some jersey that has all kinds of colors in it.
Yeah. And it's like, think of, if you say a team, you associate a color scheme with them. And then suddenly you turn on that team's game and they're not even wearing anything close to those colors. And I get you can have fun alternates that don't necessarily have to always adhere perfectly to the rigid official color scheme that you have in your little team handbook, but have an identity, and teams are drifting from their identity. So there's my rant for the day.
Yeah.
The Jazz are doing good.
But look, I like this look. I think it pulls back to this is what we know the Jazz to be. Purple has always been a strong color in that palette over the years. So we're going to lean into that.
And it's unique too.
Yeah, it is unique. And but black, everybody's got a black alternate uni, and I really like what the Jazz have done here with that. And I think it looks sharp. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, it look good.
And no more highlighter yellow.
I don't have to be ashamed of watching a Jazz game. Like, what are you watching in there? Oh, no, nothing. Nothing. I'm just doing drugs in here. I'm not watching highlighter yellow Jazz.
Yes. But introducing or bringing back some sky blue in the era of Darren Williams and Mehmet Okur and Andre Kirilenko. Just as a slight little highlight just here and there.
And so that was a good color, but again, it doesn't. It's kind of better they went away from that just because that wasn't the Jazz. Those jerseys weren't bad, but it wasn't the Utah Jazz per se.
Right.
So, although to be honest, there's rumblings about some of the wording that they used about how this color scheme may end up being used with the Utah Hockey Club. I don't necessarily buy into that because I don't think Ryan Smith wants to use purple with the Utah Hockey Club. I very much think maybe some of the same iconography like the mountains, and maybe something similar with the Utah because obviously he's very much going Utah.
Yes.
With that is their thing. They're not Salt Lake City. It's Utah. Insert whatever nickname they're going to use. But maybe they'll end up using some of these same mountains or things like that with the Utah Hockey Club. Because clearly they seem to be going in the direction of that. What is the official name of that blue color? I've been saying powder blue, ice blue.
Well, and what the Jazz are
blue.
using is they're calling it sky blue.
Sky blue. See, that's almost generic.
Yeah. But if you're talking hockey, you can call it ice blue.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone with the baby blue, powder blue, bunch of different.
Yeah, it's similar.
There's technical differences.
There are.
But I'm not an artist. I can't look at a color and say, yes, that's powder ice reptilian blue.
With a hint of cyan.
Yeah, there you go. It's I can recreate this color with paint. I shouldn't make fun of artists. They're incredibly talented.
Do I notice a hint of gray tone in there?
You sound like you're tasting food.
Wine tasting here.
Wine tasting and whatnot. So, that's the Jazz new uniforms. Again, there will be some overlap from the previous uniforms they've had into this season. The white jerseys with the yellow trims and then the black jerseys that had the yellow numbers. Those will still be around. Those are the two uniforms that sucked the least. The white one was actually kind of half decent because it actually, and go figure, it displayed some semblance of an attempt at a design because it used the J note and incorporated it with the number, kind of in the same way the new black jerseys they have are doing. So those will still be around. They'll have a couple of these new jerseys that will be worn this season. Obviously, they're going to start selling all this stuff right away. So the Jazz heading in the right direction as far as branding, although we're going to have to see if they head in the right direction as far as their team because they've got a long way to go from I shouldn't say a super long way to go. They're only in the middle of the pack, I guess.
Yeah, but are they? Is this the year they finally lean into? We're gonna create a team that's going to be a playoff team. Are they still part of the slow rebuild, or are they accelerating the rebuild?
Yeah. Honestly, something happened today that made me think they should try and draft a particular player and then tank for another season. We won't get into it today, but there's a potential top 5 pick, a guy who one mock draft I saw is projected to go 4th. News came out he has a torn ACL. He's a 6'6" international point guard. Nikola Topic is his name. Has a torn ACL. Does he fall in the draft? Do the Jazz pick him up at 10th and then stash him for a year, tank, get another top, I shouldn't say another, get a top 5 pick, then, pair everyone up, roll from there? I don't know. It's a topic. It's a topic we've gone over. It's something we'll certainly go over more and more as the NBA draft gets closer. It is draft month for both the NHL and the NBA.
Yeah, later this month.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to shift gears toward college football. Yesterday, ESPN released a very long article where they ranked every FBS school by their quarterbacks, basically placing them all in tiers, making a tier list. So we'll get into that coming up next, talking about where Utah State ended up, the rest of the Mountain West, and some other schools in the state of Utah. So that's coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
Has this happened to you lately?
Oh, not again!
A rock hitting your windshield causing a crack in your glass. Your windshield is no longer just a piece of glass. Your windshield plays a big role in you and your family's safety. You want to make sure that you go somewhere that can provide your vehicle with all the necessary calibrations and programming so that your car is back to pre-accident condition. Hi, this is Josh Watts with Preston Watts Collision and Glass, and for 3 generations we have provided Cache Valley with the #1 auto glass, collision, and towing services. We have kept up with the times and strive to provide you with the best customer service you can find. If you're going through insurance, we will waive up to $100 off your insurance deductible. Our reviews say it all. Give us a call at 435-563-3215. That's 435-563-3215. Or look us up online at Preston Watts Collision and Glass. We do it right.
When grid failures and severe weather cause power outages, your business might take a hit, or at home, you could lose your refrigerated food storage. Generac Standby Power Solutions help ensure an uninterrupted power supply. Generac is the #1 brand of standby generators. Get yours today from Golden Spike Electric, your trusted source for safety and security. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gscgenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
No matter what the conditions, DD Auto and Salvage can get your vehicle up and off your property. Now is the time to plan to make extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage and moving that old vehicle. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details. Nearly 21 years ago, Café Sabor opened their doors in historic Logan train station. With the help of hundreds of amazing employees and patronage of thousands of wonderful customers, Café Sabor is proud to have been voted 3 years in a row Cache Valley's favorite Mexican restaurant in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Follow Café Sabor on social media for giveaways and promotions. Search Café Sabor for a restaurant near you. Thank you, Cache Valley, from your friends at Café Sabor.
Retirement. Are you ready? Adams Wealth Advisors specializes in preparing you for a secure retirement. There's no reason to feel frustrated. The team at Adams Wealth will create a personalized plan that includes timing of retirement, reliable income sources, Social Security, estate planning, and more. Adams Wealth Advisors has a team of CPA, certified financial planners, Social Security experts to help you plan and retire with confidence. Call today, 752-1702, or visit adamswealthadvisors.com. That's adamswealthadvisors.com. Your dream retirement starts here.
Ah, the t-shirt. It's the unofficial clothing of summer. We all have a favorite t-shirt. The Logo Shop has custom screen printed over 1 million t-shirts for teams, clubs, businesses, family reunions, fundraisers, marathons, bike races. One-of-a-kind designs with creative graphics, even funny phrases. Whether you need a couple dozen or a couple thousand, the team at the Logo Shop will help with your one-of-a-kind design. From concept to creation. Order your custom t-shirts from the Logo Shop.
The Logo Shop. The Logo Stop. The Logo Shop.
It's the Full Court Press, weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Four 435-339-0321. Feel free to text in to the Full Court Press via that number, the Full Court Press text line. Wherever you're listening, you can catch us anywhere.
Even in the Maverick bathroom.
Yeah, even in the Maverick bathroom. 93015 texting in early in the shows. We're talking about where we are wherever you're at with our show. So, are you sure you want to be where I am? I could be in the crappy bathroom on the south side of Maverick listening live. Hopefully they renovate that. They've been renovating all that. Are they just about done? Like, I haven't been up there in a minute.
Which Maverick? There's so many of them. It's hard to keep track.
Maverick Stadium.
Oh, Maverick Stadium. Yeah, that I think is done. At least it sure looked like it when they had the spring scrimmage.
Yeah, I haven't really looked
And the
over
southeast corner looked nice. I didn't walk over there and take a tour.
Yeah.
I think they still had it. I think they may have still had it taped off a little bit.
Yeah,
so
last time I was there,
they may
stuff was
still be doing a
taped
few
off.
minor adjustments.
The major construction projects seem to be done.
Yeah, it'll be a market improvement.
So speaking of college football, ESPN yesterday, David Hale, their staff writer, created a FBS quarterback tier list and basically took all 133, 134, I don't know what number we're up to these days.
134
this
season.
FBS teams and ranked them in tiers based on their quarterback situation. Either their starter or just their quarterback room, because not every quarterback room is obviously settled at this point. There still can certainly be some questions for some teams, depending on just their unique situation. So where does Utah State and the rest of Mountain West teams rank? And I was maybe a little surprised at how high Utah State was placed, or really just more that this guy clearly does not like the Mountain West. Now, granted, the Mountain West doesn't have like the most robust, or at least proven, group of quarterbacks.
Yeah, coming into this year, there's been a significant change through portal, graduation, more so because of portal.
Yeah, and they've not had like this like a top tier quarterback in a minute.
Yeah, and some of these tiers, they can be as few as 8 players in a tier.
Yeah.
And some tiers have as many as 14 or 15, which
one,
includes like the starter and the backup.
And one tier got like split in half.
Right.
So there's technically 21 tiers, even though there's 20 of them. And that's kind of relevant because the highest 2 teams out of the Mountain West were both in the same tier, and it was the 11B tier. And that's Utah State and Boise State. He had them as the best 2 quarterback situations out of the Mountain West. I don't know if there was a ranking inside the tier or if that was just listed in alphabetical order. But yeah, Utah State, where they've got Spencer Petras, and he also listed like Bryson Barnes as another key player in that quarterback room. And then Boise State, Malachi Nelson and Maddox Madsen. So, to a decently stable, I think, for both of them. Boise State kind of banking on, a high-end transfer to come in, step up, and potentially be a star. But obviously unproven is most of what Boise State has in their quarterback room. Utah State, slightly more proven, but Spencer Petras hasn't exactly balled out in his career.
Right. Proven, but questions about productive.
Yeah, like questions about high-end ability.
Yes.
Boise State has potential high-end ability, but none of that's proven yet.
Right.
Most of that's tied to a high school recruiting ranking.
Yeah, good point that they make here in the article. Petras and Barnes combined to start 22 games at Utah and Iowa, respectively. I guess Iowa and Utah, respectively, anyway. But the teams that when they were playing scored 21 points or less in half of those games.
Yeah.
And they only got north of 30 4 times combined.
Yeah.
These quarterbacks are not really known for being explosive quarterbacks in their own rights. Petras, maybe a bit more of a victim of the system that he was involved in. Barnes, maybe just...
Utah's not had a great reputation for showcasing quarterbacks either.
Yeah,
but not to the same degree as
not to
Iowa,
the same
of course.
degree. They've had moments, but I think that what you and I have seen out of Petras is that this offensive style under Blake Anderson and Kyle Cephalo is going to unlock some things that he hasn't been able to showcase when he was at Iowa.
Yeah, if there's something there with Petras, it's going to get shown. If there's not something there, then I guess that optimism may be misplaced. But yeah, this offense, if Petras really has Power 5 quarterback level talent, he will ball out and be one of the best quarterbacks in the Mountain West. But that's a big if they kind of have to watch out for. So where are the rest of the Mountain West? Well, the highest they get is Tier 11, halfway up the list, basically. And, it only goes downhill. Although I think there's some decent quarterbacks down here that I feel like maybe underrating. Colorado State, you got Braden Fowler Nicolosi. He's a guy who's been statistically productive, but wins haven't necessarily followed.
Right. He was a young quarterback, kind of pushed into that role for Colorado State, but Colorado State had a lot of functional problems that weren't necessarily all on him, but as he matures and develops, I think he's going to be more of a weapon in the Mountain West and certainly a quarterback to watch for. I am a little surprised he's that low. This is probably based more on his past production versus his future projection.
Yeah,
and
sense. Also the fact that it's the ESPN analyzing the Mountain West.
Right, which they notoriously crap on.
Yeah, basically, that's their thing. Then you've got Mikey Keene, who I feel like is also being a little underrated there. I feel like he can be good, but he's obviously stepping into the spotlight here as the guy.
At Fresno State.
Yeah, at Fresno State. Air Force, Zach Larrier, returning from injury, I believe. Or did he return late last season from that injury? Something I can't remember. I lost track of Air Force kind of the last few weeks of the season.
I thought he's got some snaps. I don't remember. I don't recall.
But yeah, he obviously going to be a key returner as the returning quarterback there for Air Force. They also listed Jensen Jones as another guy at quarterback. Of course, quarterback is just a completely different animal at Air Force.
Very different situation.
It's definitely a different situation. So Colorado State, both of them and Fresno State, they were in Tier 15. I don't think I specified that. And Air Force in Tier 17, and Hawaii also in Tier 17 with Braden Shager.
See, Shager's a guy that could be the best quarterback in the Mountain West. He has the makings to do that. Now, there's some things that will the team have success overall. That's how he will be judged. And so that's a bit of a mark against him. But pure talent, he may be the best quarterback in the Mountain West Conference, and he's down into Tier 17.
Yeah, and that's another one where I was like, really? That's where you're putting him? Like, I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way in that sense. Moving into the next tier, so you've got teams basically every tier from here on down to 20. Nevada and San Diego State both in Tier 18. And granted, I know essentially nothing about their QB situations, respectively. I just don't. Brendan Lewis, Chubby Purdy, A.J. Bianco for Nevada, A.J. Duffy, and Cal Crum listed for San Diego State. Again, I don't even know if these guys are on. Like, I haven't done a deep dive into either of these teams yet.
Well, with the San Diego State situation, it will be very interesting to watch because they're bringing an offensive-minded coach in to change their direction, change their trajectory. So does he have a QB that will do that? And how quickly does that translate to the new style, the new philosophy there?
Yeah, and I think for a lot of the Mountain West, you can probably see the potential for a lot of them to jump up from the tier that they're in. Like we look at Utah State and Boise State, their guys could leap depending on if they fulfill their potential or if they unlock some potential. Colorado State, Fresno State, Air Force, Hawaii, like they're all you see the potential. You see the potential for production in all these guys. Nevada and San Diego State, certainly hope the same for them because they were both obviously toward the bottom of the conference last year. Moving down the list to Tier 19, you got San Jose State and Wyoming. Again, a lot of new faces for these teams. Certainly like San Jose State, Walker Eggett. I like half of that name. Emmett Brown, he should become a doctor.
That's right.
Yeah. And then for Wyoming, Evan Svoboda and Jaden Clemens.
Yep.
Like I said, I have
bunch of guys that are unproven and we don't know.
Yeah, a lot of guys. And then Tier 20, you've got New Mexico and UNLV. New Mexico, I think they just listed the entire depth chart for New Mexico.
Because it's who knows?
And UNLV obviously trying to overcome losing their top quarterback to the transfer portal. They've got Matthew Sluka and Haj Malik Williams. So, they're in Tier 20. So, not a whole lot of love for Mountain West quarterbacks, not without some justification. I don't think they're completely off the mark in ranking a lot of these guys pretty low because, outside of Utah State, Boise State, Colorado State, and Hawaii, who is proven? Basically none of them. Zach Larrier kind of, but you have 5 teams that have something that you can know about the quarterback, but very little of it is actually top-tier production. And then everyone else is like, heck if I know who this guy is.
Yeah, it'll be an adventure for all of us. Boise State, probably the most, I don't know if most isn't the right term, but Boise State has someone on their roster coming back who they're excited about and a new recruit coming in that has maybe some recognition on his name based on his recruiting portfolio. Utah State's, I don't see it as a surprise that Utah State has, is among the top there because these are 2 guys who have starts and wins at Power 5 programs. Yeah. No one else has that.
Yeah, and so that's definitely why they're top 8. But even with, the unproven nature, as I point that out, I feel like there is room for optimism. And even I think some of these guys are underrated. I mentioned there's justification for them being somewhat low, but I think a lot of these guys can take a jump up. And you certainly hope so because the Mountain West needs a really good year, especially when you go into the first season of the college football playoff, the expanded college football playoff. You need to have a really good year out of the Mountain West where it's not really the, you would say 6th best conference. Now it's going to be 5th best. But are they really the 5th best football conference? It's really hard to say that. So even with, the AAC has been backpedaling, but the Sun Belt is improving. So it's like, you got to get back to where the Mountain West has been in a lot of cases.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty throughout the Mountain West. Changes in coaches, changes with quarterbacks to the highest profile position. By the way, looking at this list, Cooper Legas makes me wonder, he moved on. He's chosen another destination. Was he ranked higher than the new guys coming in or lower? Or where would he land in this ranking among Mountain West Conference quarterbacks? And he would be lower than the current quarterbacks listed for Utah State.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because, I guess it's not exactly off base because Spencer Petras won the job over Cooper Legas, so I guess that would make sense. And I think the inclusion of Bryson Barnes is mostly he hasn't followed super closely Utah State, training camp, which fair. He's not deep diving 134 quarterback rooms.
Yeah.
He's human. He can't be doing that. So I think it makes some sense. The fact that he's all the way down there in Tier 15, that puts him in the same range as Fowler Nicolosi and Mikey Keene, which, I guess if that's the...
Still pretty high among other Mountain West quarterbacks, but Tier 15 for Cooper Legas.
That's probably, if that's the company he's keeping, I feel like that's about where he's at. But I think he's underrated those 2 quarterbacks, so in that same sense, he'd probably be underrating Cooper Legas.
Interestingly enough, there was no mention of McKay Hillstead.
Yeah, because BYU, they only listed 2 quarterbacks, and they put BYU in Tier 16. They listed 2 quarterbacks. Is it Gary or Jerry Bohannon?
I don't know.
I don't know how you
Bohannon.
Yeah. Because it's spelled with a G, but sometimes they'll say Jerry, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Jake
Retzlaff. Yeah, so BYU lower in the ranking, but Utah very high.
Yeah, very high, pretty much right on the edge because there's this top tier, which is best of the best. And then Tier 2 was he had a bunch of different, title, fancy titles for his tiers, but Tier 2 is basically could be Tier 1, but maybe there's an asterisk, and which is pretty fitting for Cam Rising. So this is a guy who could be one of the best quarterbacks in NCAA. He has the preseason hype that if he goes off this year, he is actually a Heisman candidate. That's how big it is. The asterisk is health for him in a lot of ways.
Right. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of excitement about his ability, Cam Rising's ability to come back. You got the medical red shirt, you got that additional year of eligibility, and so he's a very solid quarterback, very good quarterback, and he should be rated very high. Number 2 in tier number 2, Seems a little high, but
I don't think it's that off base.
I think it'd be pretty close. I think he should be in the top 5 of these tiers. Tier 2, which put him as, or that quarterback grouping, and I think that's the important thing. It's not just quarterback, period. It's the quarterback room, your group of quarterbacks available. But, that puts him among the top 10 overall. When you consider there were 4 teams in the top tier, and there were 5 teams in the second tier.
So essentially top 10.
So he's top 10.
I think that's fair, though. I think he's that good.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think he's in that stratosphere. He certainly has that potential.
All right, we got to take a break. Before we go to break, though, 5860 on the Full Court Press text line. Go Mavs. That is all. And that'll take us to break. We'll be back
Thank you,
after this.
5860.
Hello, I'm Becky Funk, Branch Operations Manager at Cache Valley Bank. I've spent 13 years in banking, and I'm ready to use my experience to help you with your accounts and financial goals. I have a great team of tellers and bankers who provide you with the personalized attention you deserve. Come visit me at our main branch or give me a call. Let me help you open an account and show you what makes us so great. We look forward to meeting you. Cache Valley Bank member, FDIC.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Security. It's the most precious thing you can give your home, especially if it's guaranteed. No cheap locks, no weak keys, no inadequate hardware, just the expertise and precision and security. Beezer Lock and Key believes there's no place like a safe home, and no home safer than one secured by them. It may seem they only sell locks and keys, but what they really sell is peace of mind. Search Beezer Lock and Key or go to 4th North and 1st West and just add confidence.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Have you seen the semis parked in front of our 2 stores in Logan? They're chock full of mattresses, fabric headboards, and bedding at pennies on the dollar. Twin mattresses, $99. Queens only $199. Every size and quality available for pickup or delivery. Headboards, new in box, normally $400, only $50. Mattress protectors, normally $79, only $15. Truckloads of everything to help you sleep better, only at both Logan My Mattress locations. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally?
Elements has delicious lunch specials. Soup, salad, and bread for just $10 is tasty and quick. Elements' lunch menu is full of scrumptious items. Wood-fired pizzas are an excellent choice that include barbecued chicken and the bee's knees. The fresh battered halibut fish and chips with seasoned fries is always a hit. And don't forget the fan favorite, Chipotle fried chicken sandwich. Thursdays, enjoy Elements house-made smoked brisket. Casual or professional. Open Monday through Thursday, 11:30 to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11:30 to 9. Visit theelementsrestaurant.com for reservations.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems, your home team when local matters. Valley Office Systems is your local provider for all things office, copiers, printers, furniture, and document management. Proudly serving Cache Valley since 2007. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
Breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
It's Full Court Press. Jason Walker, Eric Frandsen. Wherever you're at, you can listen to us. It's a beautiful world. You can listen to us pretty much anywhere, except I don't know if you can get us in Antarctica, but maybe.
If they have Wi-Fi.
If they got Wi-Fi. That's true. If you've got Wi-Fi, you can get our show. We obviously led the show with the new Utah Jazz jerseys. I actually did a poll on Twitter. I was trying to see if somebody else released a poll about this. Just to get a larger sample size of Jazz fans. But I put one out myself. It's only got like 100 votes in there, or like 65 votes. But just wanted to get an idea because I'd seen some reactions, some replies. Some people liked it. Others don't like the new jerseys as much. I've seen some people that actually really don't. But just in the poll that I have, basically 90% gave it either an A or B. I asked to give it a grade A, B, C, and then there's a D/F option. 45% in A, 43% in B. So like your hair under 90% are giving it at least a positive and pretty decently positive. Not a single person has chosen D or F. So everyone at least likes it or at least doesn't think it's bad. There's 11% that gave it a C. So like, yeah. So a lot of positivity toward these. And some of that is just off the back of, the old jerseys, which were so bad that they could have just rolled out some kid in a T-shirt and everyone would have gone crazy for it. Some kid in a purple T-shirt and everyone would have been like, yes!
Yeah. There's some criticism that, your team is bad if they keep changing their jerseys every few years.
So that's what they did. They tanked for the couple of years and they had the really bad jerseys, and now they're going to do the better jerseys and they're going to actually try and be good now.
Right. Yes, the evolution has begun.
That's how you know it's going. In other news, shifting back toward Utah State, later today, in about an hour and 10 minutes or so, the NCAA Outdoor Championships, technically those have already begun, but the relevant portion for Utah State fans will begin in about an hour and 10 minutes. Logan Hammer, who I believe won an individual Mountain West title in the pole vault, qualified for the outdoor championships, and so later today will be competing in the pole vault. A little disappointing that a guy named Logan Hammer didn't wind up doing the hammer throw, but
yeah,
wonder how often he's heard that in his life.
Yeah,
but still a very good pole vault. Just maybe it's a good thing he did that because he's really good.
He is very talented.
Pole vault. So I believe he set a Mountain West meet record, and maybe even Utah. I should have looked into that a little closer. But yeah, 6 o'clock is when the pole vault portion of the championships will begin. Of course, there's a lot of stuff running concurrently, but as far as the field events, there will be 6 o'clock Mountain Time. It's 5 p.m. Pacific Time because they're probably doing it somewhere on the east or west coast. But yeah, that's when Logan Hammer will get his chance to do his best in the NCAA championships. He's the first Aggie to qualify for the national championship meet since Sindri Gudmundsson.
Oh, okay.
I forget if I'm pronouncing his name wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He competed in the javelin. He was another incredibly talented track and field athlete at Utah State. And so it's been 5 years since we've had an Aggie at the track and field championships.
Yeah, best of luck. It's always exciting when anyone local goes on to participate on a national level. And Logan Hammer's had a tremendous season for Utah State and in the Mountain West. And so now he gets to represent both on the national stage. So hope he does well.
Yeah, so it's fact check what I was saying earlier. So is Hammer set the Utah State meet and Mountain West records in men's pole vault, clearing 5.62 meters. That's tall.
That sounds high.
How many football fields is that, Eric?
I don't think it's quite one.
Might feel like it when you look at it. So obviously has been very good this year. So yeah, best of luck, and we'll keep you updated on that, and we'll even see if we can try and have Logan on the show as well. It's our tradition to bring champions on here, so we might as well get him on as well, and especially after what will hopefully be a solid showing at the championships. All right, we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll close out the show. We'll maybe talk a little bit of MLS. I know, Eric, that is the bane of your existence, even hearing about the MLS.
They're doing well. At least the local team's doing well.
Yeah, local team's doing pretty well. We'll talk about that next here on the Full Court Press.
Want to set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before July 1st to be considered for a fall start. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
Old McDarrell has a farm, an appliance farm.
With down-home country prices and big city selection.
E-I-E-I-O. When you're looking for a friendly spot to drive a little and save a lot, hey, Lone McDarrow has a farm, an appliance farm. Low overhead, but lots of country charm. See Darrell's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
What can a business technology partner do for you? Well, a great one like Les Olson IT will help you become more efficient, more secure, and help you stay on top of your network. Plus, they have all the products and services you need. Computers, servers, business telephones, surveillance cameras, office applications are just the start. Les Olson IT's network cabling team can help you build a network from scratch or improve your existing network. Learn more about your office technology partner at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
Ladies, do you have your men's ring yet? We know that he got you the perfect ring, so let's get him one that will show how much you care, such as a one-of-a-kind Damascus steel, his choice of camo, or an exquisite redwood inlay. And if you really want something out of this world, come check out our meteorite rings. For the largest selection of unique men's rings, make it special, make it Jarek's at 930 North Main in Logan.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
Happy Father's Day to those amazing dads out there. This is Kristen from the Sportsman in downtown Logan. We have great deals on e-bikes from Cannondale, Super 73, Da Vinci, and Marin. Get Dad some shirts and shorts from Cool, the North Face, or True Grit. He will love a pair of shoes from Keen, Technica, or Chaco. New this year, the Sportsman has men's cologne from True Fit and Heel out of London, and my favorite is St. John's of the Caribbean. We'd love you to shop for Father's Day's gifts at the Sportsman on Main Street in downtown Logan.
Rely now on a York Affinity Premium Comfort System to keep your home cool and comfortable. The new Affinity systems are smarter and more connected and more efficient than ever before, and you can cut your energy costs by as much as 50%. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, to schedule a free system evaluation. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning showroom is west of DI and online at advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Wrapping things up here on the Full Court Press, but first, you work hard, you expect your oil to work hard and do its job too. You can count on the oil you buy at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts. You have Avalene Premium Blue Diesel Oils, Chevron, Dello, 15W40, only $15 a gallon. All that more at the locally owned Preston to Providence locations, Napa Auto Parts. So there you go. So, yeah, again, wrapping things up here on the Full Court Press. Wanted to talk about RSL because, Eric wants to talk baseball. I want to talk MLS. Mostly just RSL because my thing is I only follow the MLS because of RSL. Like, if I want to watch really good soccer, I'll go over to Europe. But I love RSL. I don't necessarily love European soccer.
Yeah, and they're having a banner year this year.
They are. They're in the latest MLS power rankings, which can kind of be reactionary. I don't know if I'd actually say RSL is the number one team in MLS because you got Inter Miami and Cincinnati FC are both pretty good. LAFC is on an absolute roll. But RSL was ranked number one in the MLSsoccer.com latest power rankings. They are tied for second overall in the Supporters' Shield standings, the overall standings. And they're first in the Western Conference, although LAFC, I believe, has a game in hand. They've played one fewer game. So if they won their next game, they'd be tied with RSL and would have played the same number of games. But still, RSL on a roll. I think 13 unbeaten. Don't ask Jeff Grammer about that.
Why?
Well, he was trying to point out that in that span, there was a U.S. Open Cup game where RSL, they played their third team, and they lost to some random team that's from New Mexico, which is why Grammer knows about it.
Oh, I see.
So he's wanting to nitpick and be like, yeah, sure. if that floats your boat.
Yeah, but they've been very exciting to watch. They're one of the highest scoring clubs in MLS, they're on a roll right now. 17. That's 17 games played. Sorry, but 9 wins.
Only 2 losses, 5 or 6 ties, something like that.
Plus 17 goal differential.
Yeah. Who knew? Signing goal scorers. You got Chicho Arango, who's, I believe, at 15 or 16 goals this season. Leader for the Golden Boot. Potentially MVP of the league. He's got some really good players to contend with, not the least of which is Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Who's, I think, got the most goals plus assists. But, yeah, RSL's got a top-tier player. They've got a top-tier team. And they're going to be making a run at the MLS Cup this season. Maybe even the Supporters' Shield, the regular season title.
Yeah, it's a great summer activity, right? Go down to an RSL game in Sandy. Hopefully the weather's good for you when you do it.
I'm planning on doing it. I'm going to be doing it probably later this month or next month. I don't know. We're planning that out with my brothers. We usually go to a couple RSL games a year.
Yeah, but it's always great when teams out of Utah do well. So we can get behind RSL.
Definitely. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in tomorrow.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The NFL's commitment to promoting the passing game has made the receiver position one of the most valuable in the sport, so much so that elite players at that position can rapidly expedite a quarterback's development. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle made Tua an MVP candidate. And the Niners' unique stable of weapons like Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel helped turn a former Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, into a Pro Bowler. All 3 of those quarterbacks went from having major question marks to some of the game's best with a little help. Those types of impactful players are hard to obtain. When you find them, you have to keep them. The Vikings did that yesterday with Justin Jefferson. His new extension will make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. And with the franchise's future now connected to a rookie with some question marks, an elite supporting cast is one of the best safety nets money can buy. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.